Westling.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, we have 4 members present. We have a quorum.
Jus Masi, Director. Okay, this is a special meeting and it's limited to just one subject, which is of course our legal counsel. So, Director, you wanna start it off?
Okay, yes. Recently we've seen that there's been a change with the Attorney General's office, basically a change of administration. And we're concerned basically about our MOU with the AG's office and how it's going to carry forward. In 2014, memorandum of understanding was entered into by the Attorney General's office and the Department of Land Management. And within that department, the commissions, the Guam Land Use Commission, the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, and the Guam Ancestral Land Commissions were all part of that. And so an agreement was signed that the cost of the Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General signed to us would be shared by the 3 different commissions under the Department of Land Management. So that was the agreement. And that the 3 commissions, which was under one agency, would agree to with the AG. Now that has changed dramatically over the time. Last fiscal year and this fiscal year, the Chamorro Land Trust Commission was, by legislation, was exempted from making these payments. And we came to an agreement with the Attorney General's office that they would not increase the charges to Department of Land Management and the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. We would simply pay our 1/3. It was understood that the legislation would cover the other 1/3 of the expense for the Chamorro Land Trust Commission. But now we've had Deputy Attorney General Canto and also Assistant Attorney General Tuff. They've left the Attorney General's office, and we don't know where we stand with the MOU. It's also my understanding that Land Management may be, and Joe Borja's on with us right now from Land Management, may be negotiating an MOU or an MOA with the AG's office for the Guam Land Use Commission specifically, or for Department of Land Management. And so if they pull out, based on what the MOU states, the last agency or the remaining agencies on the MOU, if they don't pull out, will be held responsible for paying the full amount of any for the Assistant Attorney General that will be assigned to us. Currently, we don't have that in our budget. And since we came up, our proposed budget last December was passed by the commission, we did not plan on that for FY24 either. So that's a problem for us. One is that ancestral lands, Chamorro Land Trust pretty much can pull out and not worry about anything. They're covered by law. Land Management pulls out, and that leaves us. So if Land Management pulls out because of the financial situation, it will be incumbent on us to pull out so that we don't, because we can't, our budget doesn't account for those funds that would be needed. So if Land Management pulls out, we'd have to pull out, and we'd have to negotiate an MOU with the AG's office specifically for us. The duties and the work that we handle here is quite sensitive, and I do not recommend that we take action as a board on issues dealing with land or contracts unless we have an attorney present. We've seen that. We've seen cases come up from the past, from 2006 and 2008 and whatever, come up to bite us now today. And since we've had Nick Tuff or attorneys assigned to us, we have not had any problems. So it is crucial that we have an attorney working with us. So I would like us to work on that. And we do have both Assistant Attorney Generals here, Sandra Miller and Kristen Finney. They could probably help us work through this and see what the AG's office could work on. And if we, like Land Management, should start working on an MOU directly with them, specifically for us. So I do know that the AG's office basically takes care of the entire government of Guam. There are attorneys up there, and they handle everything. If anything goes to court, it would have to go through the AG's office. but for advice for the commissioners, and they help us with our legal documents. Now that's different. That's where we would probably have to be paying for the AG's office. So we do have monies available, but not enough to cover an assistant AG's full salary, like what was agreed to in the MOU or what is currently in the agreement. So that's pretty much where we stand. We want to keep the relationship going, but with the change of administration and the loss of two individuals that we've been working with over the years, with them moving on, and now we have two people here. I've seen Attorney Finney's signature on many documents that we have. So I know that she knows about our operations here. It won't take her too long, I believe, to get caught up with us. I'm not sure about Attorney Miller, if she's worked with Ancestral Lands, but she'll be handling, if anything, according to the Chief Deputy Attorney General, any litigation that comes up with us. And hopefully we don't have to wind up, or we don't wind up going to court for anything. So mostly we would, just like with Nick, we would have our meetings and be told when we cross lines to pull our horns back in and straighten out and give us the right advice on how to stay out of trouble. And we do realize that since Nick was here, he just left now, but since he was here, we have not been sued by anybody, and any suits that came up from the past were taken care of. So, Mr. Chair, that's pretty much where we are today. The two assistant attorney generals online with us now, and they we'll try to work something out, see what we can get going here. And Mr. Borja's on too, so he is, of course, he has direct interest in what we do, because like us, we're tied together with the current MOU.
So Juice Masi, Director, and buenas, Joe, Mr. Borja, welcome. And buenas, Sandra Miller, and Kristen Finney, good to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so can we get a little more dialogue on what's the more dialogue on the situation now and the possibilities?
I'm Sandra Miller. Nice to meet everybody. I recognize some people from before. I don't know whether you can hear me good. I can't seem to get this Zoom working on my computer, so I'm just using my phone. So please excuse the sound and also, some of the video.
We can hear you clear.
Some experience with Ancestral Lands. But they were mostly on the administrative side. For purposes of the future, the Attorney General has divided the work between me and Kristen, and that doesn't mean that we're exclusive. We'll help each other out and make sure that the agency and the commission is well taken care of. Kristen has more familiarity with the land management, so I'll let her do most of the talking. I do most of the litigation here, which would be the court cases. So Nick Toft had several items on his calendar, so I will pick those up. Actually, we have one hearing starting tomorrow, and then there's another one scheduled for the 16th, and they're just land registration cases. So those will be, they're simple enough. Anything big, the only big one that I'm aware of is the Taurus estate. And that's something that I do remember from several years ago. I think it was resolved for the most part. We're still kind of in transition here, and so I would need to figure out where we are with that case. I don't know, Kristen, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, really what I'm wondering is, because I know that land management needs an attorney assigned to them full time. And so I know from previous experience that between, between the work that Tomorrow Land Trust needed and ancestral lands and land management, together with Land Use Commission, that was the work of a full-time attorney. But I'm wondering if ancestral lands needs an attorney assigned to them full-time, to where they, where they, like, you guys are concerned about that you can't afford to pay for one. And I'm wondering if your legal needs, would justify that. Or are you just looking for somebody to be there at your meetings and then, provide guidance on the issues that would come up there, as opposed to, like, things that will come up day to day? So I'm just not sure, like, right now, what your status is as far as how extensive your legal needs are.
So are you suggesting that possibly we could just still hold our meetings, and and keep it to basically more in line with the operations of how the trust works, but for critical decisions that's dealing with contracts and stuff that got us in trouble in the past, to basically reserve those decisions until at least we have the legal counsel on that session? Is that what is that what you're trying to say?
I'm just wondering if I guess I'm just asking, because I know, like, with other agencies, not all the agencies have legal counsel assigned to them full time. In fact, most of them don't. Am I right about this, Sandra? That most don't have an attorney that's just assigned just to work on their matters full time. So I'm wondering if and I don't know what your legal needs are, but if you are needing that, or if it's something that more just like on a case-by-case basis, you can make the request to the AG's office when when a situation comes up.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's a good point to consider. I mean, for the board to look at. Mr. Borja, do you have any input on that? Joe?
Joe, you're
he's
still
on
on mute.
No, other than the original MOU in 2014, the financial part of that referred to a Tomorrow Land Trust account, financial account. And so that MOU that was signed there actually referred to the Tomorrow Land Trust financial account. And of course, we don't have any access or control over that. That would be up to the Tomorrow Land Trust Commission. So as far as we're concerned, that 2014 MOU, that's null and void. We're negotiating with the AG's office for a new MOU.
Joe, are you looking for a full-time attorney assigned to you?
Well, I'm not sure what you consider full-time. When you say full-time, or we think full-time, it's somebody that's there 8 to 5. And that's not what we're looking at in that sense. I think what you may describe as full-time or part-time would be what type of services do you need? For land management, we're basically concerned about some recording issues, issuance of certificates of title, whether the chain of title is correct enough to issue a title, and also attendance at our Guam Land Use Commission meetings for these Land Use Commission applications, which may be similar to what the ancestral lands need. You guys have applications for title and like that. But right now, what we're working on a temporary basis with the AG's office is basically the AG assigned to us would be there at the office 1 to 5 in the afternoon. And those are the two basic issues that they would have. Two other issues that they would be involved on would be land registration. And the other one would be a procurement process when we have something over $500,000 pending. But that we only have actually one situation where the procurement factor from us is $500,000, and that's actually our rent. And then, thirdly is, the Land Use Commission advice on to the board members on that. But in general, the operations of the commission, with the land management, it's really, it's mostly administrative. We don't really look at that. There is one issue, I think, that maybe Attorney Miller, maybe I don't know the status of that, although I am the plaintiff, and that's the Portec case. I don't know that that's been settled. And that was a situation where I think Ancestral Lands was suing land management on it. I'm not familiar with the case, although I'm named as the plaintiff, I believe, or the defendant. I'm not even sure at this point, but only by virtue of my my position. That case really happened long before I came into the department. So that may be one pending case where Ancestral Lands and the Tomorrowland Trust rather the Department of Land Management is involved on that. So, that I think Attorney Miller may need to make a report to the Ancestral Lands and to Land Management. And I'm a little different in terms of governance. You guys are a board, you guys are a commission, so is the Tomorrowland Trust Commission. So any action relative to the legal counsel or legal services would have to be approved by the board, by your board. Whereas for land management, I can basically negotiate, and if anything really gets out of line, Adelup would call me, being a line agency, But I believe we do accept the fact that 5 GCA says the Attorney General is the legal officer for the Department of Land Management.
Yeah, our needs are pretty much the same. We basically, we don't need a full-time attorney assigned to us. And it worked out well when we were splitting Nick Tuff 3 ways. In fact, I think Ancestral Lands has used Nick a little bit less than, I think the bulk of the work may have been with Chamorro Land Trust Commission. They've had a lot of things come at them lately. Not to say that that's not going to hit us too. So we basically, need to provide to attend meetings, make sure we stay in line, and the meetings we have are basically once a month. Sometimes like now we have special meetings, and provide some basic legal services to advise us what the public laws are, and to help us with our research into the laws. And of course, for any title hearings.
Yeah. With Attorney Finney, I believe EPA is involved in it, so it's almost like 4 agencies that Attorney Finney would be servicing. And in line with that, we also have the concern as we are the sole agency that provides office space for her, and like that. So if she's there in the land management, do we say, hey, don't do any work for EPA, Ancestral Lands, or Tomorrow Land Trust in our office because we're providing office space and like that. So we're working out those details, but we don't have an agreement yet. I do want to mention that yesterday I had a meeting with the Committee on Land, and I'll have to review the video audio of that meeting, because I believe in that meeting, Speaker Terlahi, Oversight Chair, said something like that the legal services that is provided to the Department of Land Management should be at no cost, since the attorney assigned to us is already being, the position is funded. They're already working at so that there should not be any reimbursement. But I'll have to review the meeting video, meeting audio yesterday, and I plan to do that Friday with my staff, the division heads, as well as Attorney Finney on that. So.
Well,
So
that's
a
serious. That's gonna make a serious impact on exactly how we're going about doing this.
Yeah, and that's why that's why I'm at the meeting here, and to take a look at that. But we left our first negotiation meeting with Deputy Chief Attorney General Joe Guthrie, with the understanding that yes, we will have legal counsel, legal advice from the Attorney General's office, and yes, we will pay our fair share. So that was end of that first meeting. And where we're at now is we're drafting up a MOU for approval, with the Attorney General's office.
I see. That's notwithstanding the information you just gave us right now about the hearing with speaker, right? Regarding the.
That's correct. It wasn't a hearing, it was a meeting with the committee.
Oh, I see. Okay. Director Birch, can I get a clarification on the, on the last MOU we had where we were sharing the cost of the legal counsel? Was this just to clarify, was the share that Ancestral Lands is paying, was that equivalent to what would be considered a part-time?
Yes. Pretty much so, because when I was running the Guam Federation of Teachers, we had an attorney on retainer, and that's pretty much what you would do. But this is different. This is government of Guam. When you have an attorney on retainer, you put a retainer up, and then they pretty much use it until they exhaust it. And then if any costs come up beyond that, then you have to pay for that beyond the retainer. But this is Gov Guam. So, but it's kind of similar to that, like a part-time attorney, somebody who can give us advice as needed, but not full-time.
I see.
May I say something?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes, Kristen, go ahead.
So again, like with land management, there's a lot of things that come up like on a daily basis where an attorney needs to review it. So it's very, I think very important for them to have somebody that is, and you say working full time, that is there, because you have, like every agency, you have big issues, but they also have a lot of smaller issues that just really need legal review, to where it's just not efficient if they were to have to package these up and make individual requests, again, like on a pretty much a daily basis. But I'm wondering if with Ancestral Lands, and back in 2014, all of the agencies, were all together under land management. So it was easier to say, let's just put all of this together. But I'm just wondering, and again, I don't know what your legal needs are, but I'm wondering if it's something that's more like, this one big issue has come up, and so we need to make a request for legal guidance on this, or we need a review of this contract, or whatever, that it can be more of a case-by-case basis versus these type of just, again, almost daily, like we need a lawyer to look at this.
It'll be more in case-by-case basis.
Right.
Actually almost all the administrative work is handled by myself. I do all the resolutions, I do most of the writings. And then what I normally would do, if it was a sensitive issue, I would send it to Nick and he'd review it and tell me whether I missed something, and we would fill it in. Especially when we were working on contracts, we would prepare the contracts and Nick would look at it and he'll fill in certain places, some boilerplate type language that may be needed that we may have missed.
So it sounds like it's almost possible that you could go back to, and I'm not advising this, I don't know, but I'm just, kind of thinking out loud that, what happened before the 2014 MOU, to my understanding, I was only here starting in 2014, but that you would, package up the request. You say, we have this issue and we need, we need someone from the AG's office to look at it. And so you would just, again, just request the advice as needed, rather than having just somebody standing by specifically dedicated to the agency.
So even if it, considering that case, that scenario you just gave, Kristen, would it be an impact on the difference on what we're actually paying right now? And another thing is, can the board be work efficiently and prudently on a case-by-case basis? Because I know for sure that every time something sensitive came up, either someone in the board or primarily our director would say, "Wait, that's a sensitive subject. I advise to hold action on that right now until we get clarification, regarding something that's critical."
You may need somebody to be present at your meetings. Just
Yes.
the kinds of things that you guys deal with in your meetings. My suggestion there would be that you would need legal counsel at your meetings. And then if something came up there, like I said, you could package up that request. But I don't know like how that would, impact that. I'm just suggesting because you guys are saying like, with land management having a separate MOU, and then you guys are considering, it just doesn't sound like you need a full-time legal counsel, but again, I would suggest that you continue to request that you have a attorney present at your meetings.
So you're requesting that we do have at every meeting?
Well, that's up to you guys. I'm just thinking that the kinds of things that come up at your meetings, from what I remember, I haven't been attending, but what I remember, you have a lot of things that come up in your meetings that do, deal with, people's, with rights and with your, with your leases and all that. So.
Understood. It's ironic that we're talking about this right now because the issues that got us in trouble in the past with lawsuits was because of the professionals, the lawmakers at the time that came in and had the board make decisions, forced the board to make decisions. That's the ones that came back to bite us in the rear. And without going back to that and taking up time, but that's what got us in trouble in the first place. So does having 2 meetings a month as opposed to 1 meeting a month, or 1 meeting a month as opposed to 2 meetings a month, and having a legal counsel present, is that has a big factor in the cost of our legal fees?
I think we could work something out. That's why we're having this discussion. We could probably come up with a fixed rate of a sort, so we could get someone assigned to us, attend all our meetings, give us advice, and as needed, we send things up to that attorney for questions on legality. Like more recently, like the procurement issues that we've had and contract issues that we do come up with whenever we put an RFP and IFP out. But then there are cases too that have to go up, and these are like Joe said, the Cortec case that's getting pretty heated out there, especially now that Waterworks is being sued. I don't know, everybody's suing everybody, and ancestral lands may be enjoined on it soon.
That's the particular that got us in trouble, and it got now Joe's in trouble.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Mr. Chair, I wouldn't be surprised if we get enjoined on that. And then just like the Torres case, things of that have gone forward. And we thought at one time that we were the plaintiffs, and it was unknown to us that the case was dismissed. And I understand that the statute of limitations expires this coming July. And while we're going through all of this, I don't feel confident that we're going to meet the deadline of July because we weren't aware that the case was dismissed. We weren't informed. And that's where I wonder about the conflict that we may have, within the AG's office. Are they representing the government of Guam, or are they going to be representing the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission? I assume Ancestral Lands is government of Guam. We're just a part of it. And so there is the conflict. And that shows up in the Torres case.
I'd like to add to that, Director, real quick. For the record, with Christian and Ms. Miller, Sandra, the issue with what happened with the AG's office settling out of court with Kanto we have a lot of exception to what happened there, and it brought up the issue of ancestral lands getting its own legal counsel, a private and outside legal counsel. So it was kind of like one of the reasons why justifying the commission seeking outside legal counsel as apart from the AG's office. So I wanted to get your input on that. I'm not talking about the contract. I mean the legal aspect with Kanto. I'm just talking about ancestral lands moving towards seeking other legal counsel, private legal counsel.
Mr. Chair, the vice chair has had his hand up several times. I don't think you could see
Oh,
him.
I'm sorry, I couldn't see. Okay. But could they answer that question real quick?
Well, I can say that if you are seeking outside legal counsel, first of all, you would have to be authorized to get legal counsel. And I don't believe that Ancestral Lands on its own as a commission is authorized to do that. I don't recall any authority. I mean, if it's out there, I'm not aware of it. Secondly, even if it were, there needs to be a procurement for legal counsel that's approved by the Attorney General himself. So, which I don't think he would have any opposition to. However, it's not something that just is an easy, quick process. Normally what happens when the commissions need legal counsel is someone from this office is assigned, just as it is now. But AAG Finney makes a good point that, I'm not sure whether Ancestral Lands needs anybody all the time. What had happened is that land management, the agency, got blended in, right, with Chamorro Land Trust and Ancestral Lands. And there was a time when all of those were completely separate. So if you're renegotiating, as Mr. Borja says, if the MOA is now, been terminated or is null and void now, and a new one is being negotiated, this is the time to put in these things, whether the AG's office is going to represent ancestral lands, and if so, how much. I don't think if it's going to be for all of land management, that Ancestral Lands needs to pick up the entire bill, or should pick up the entire bill. Maybe that's something, and that was my understanding, that's the concern, that there was a budget issue. So perhaps Ancestral Lands needs to be a part of these negotiations with the Attorney General for the new MOA that's coming up. And so does Chamorro Land Trust. And I don't know where that is. This is the first I've heard of the new MOA. That's something that's being handled by the AGs upstairs. So if it was just simply to show up at this meeting and find out, where we are, then that's fine. But going forward, if things do come up, and especially if the Torres estate is something that is going to be re-looked at, then you're going to need more work than just, let's attend the monthly meetings or bi-monthly meetings and, give advice on the fly at the conference room table. So, I don't know where the commission wants to go with that. But again, I'm not sure whether, I'm actually pretty confident that the commission does not have the authority at the moment to just go and hire its own private counsel. That would require a legislative change. Yeah.
Okay, the only reason why I brought that up was because throughout the years, recent years, there's been efforts to move towards that with the AG's office actually giving its nod of approval and we just never really got to the point of executing it. But even TOF was in favor of that, our previous legal counsel, but we've never executed. I just wanted to bring that up as a, FYI. Okay, thank you. Vice Chair, you had your hands up.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I think we just allow our director to sit down with the three entities and work it out, because yeah, like you said, like Attorney Finney says, one thing is to attend the meetings and then to address matters when needed. And most particularly now that if we are going to pursue the Torres case. So I think our director has an idea how to work this out with the Director of Land Management and perhaps with COTC, and they will meet and then they'll present their budget plan to us as the commission. That was the best way to deal with this, because they're the inside team that have been doing this within the past MOU.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So I
Well-
put it in your hands, Mr. Director, and as well as Mr. Borja, and with the acting the director of CLTC, and we'll just do what needs to be done. Figure out the numbers.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right, Vice Chair. The dynamics that's going on at this stage of the game, we just have to let it take its course with the negotiations, and that would be our director
Right.
to take the
Work it
helm
out.
of that.
Correct. And then present it to us as commission members, and then we'll approve.
Yes,
the only way.
exactly.
Yeah, there's no way out of it. We
Yeah.
gotta go with it. That's all it is.
Well, I can work something out. I can come up with an MOU of some sort. I don't know if Joe Borja, Director Borja, if you would want to sit down, we could talk about it. It seems like you don't necessarily need a full-time attorney, but together we could probably both get part-time, at least compensate the Attorney General's office. I understand what you said about what Speaker Talahi discussed, because that discussion came up previously with the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, and by legislation, she exempted them from making payments to the Attorney General's office, and yet keep all the benefits that we were getting, but land management and ancestral lands were both continuing to pay in, while Chamorro Land Trust was compensated some other way. I think that's what she may have been talking about with you. I haven't had any discussion with the speaker lately on this issue. I decided that we better get to meet first with my board, because I do have a governing board, and of course they give the orders and I carry it out. But I do see the need that if we're going to have the board meet, oftentimes when decisions are made, we do need legal counsel there at our meetings to make sure that we operate within the law. And I do know that I've used Attorney Tough many times when I would write documents, contracts and such, for him to go through it to make sure that the contracts I wrote were within the parameters set by Governor Guam, and that it would be something that the Attorney General would sign and not kick back to us again and again until I get it right. Those are basically the general areas, just to give us direction, to give me the director legal advice, and then of course to sit in on the meetings and give the commissioners, the board of commissioners, legal advice to keep us all on the straight and narrow path here. So I depended on Nick for that. Although many times I understood where we're at. Most people won't, unless you have an attorney sign off or say, yes, this is the way the law is read, this is the way the law sits, until an attorney sits in and say that. They don't generally listen to the directors. They ask us, then they say, where did you get it from? Did you have legal check this out? And I get that even whenever you've seen where I got hit by the speaker, but on that last time, but I had it reviewed by 3 attorneys first before I go down to her. She says you only have one. I said, no, I go to 3 of them. So she's an attorney. So of course she's going to hit me on that.
Director, I have a question real quick. And
Yeah.
for the legal also, can the board do a conditional approvals?
Your board, yeah, the board, yes, I believe you can, but we got to be very careful and conditional.
Well, so
Sometimes it might,
subject to legal counsel's, affirmation
Uh,
and approval.
it can be, but I'd be very careful with that. Some people may want to stretch it because the longer it takes for you to come up with the final contract in the end or proposal, they might be read differently. So I'd be very careful on doing work like that unless legal itself looks at it.
Penny?
Yeah, I just, if I could, I just wanted to clarify, and I don't know what Mr. Borja's take on this is, but just to clarify from what I said, from my view, it looks like I would say that Department of Land Management does need, because you said something about like, oh, they didn't need a full-time attorney. And I was trying to say that I believe that they do because they have things that come up on a regular basis that, would make it really inefficient if they had to package up each one of those to ask for, to send it up to the AG's office. Hey, we need advice on this and we need advice on this, because they have the frequency of the matters that arise and the types of matters that arise. So I just wanted to clarify that
Okay.
from my view, I think that it's very important for land management to have somebody assigned to them full-time versus just like like you say, when there's a contract or whatever, those types of issues. And again, just to clarify, I would recommend that Ancestral Lands Commission have an attorney present at their meetings, again, because of the kinds of issues that come up in your meetings.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Attorney Finney. Yeah, I see that Ancestral Lands, the commission itself is kind of semi-judicial, the decisions that they make, and I'm not qualified to give them advice on that. I can point them in the right direction, but I would prefer that someone with legal experience and legal credentials be there for that. I may know the questions to
By the
ask,
way, let me,
but
yeah.
yes.
By the way, Director, I just wanted to clarify, when I was saying conditional approvals would be for, semi-trivial situations like, resolutions, things with admin or something like that. That's what not major,
when it's strictly
leases or
administrative,
anything like that.
moving the money around, I'm qualified for that. But when it comes to legislation, drafting bills for the legislature, I can do the groundwork, but I need legal to look at it, to review it before we send it down. And of course, one that now is down there is a bill that I found out that the governor resubmitted the land bank amendments again. And I like to look at that even further. But when we get into, again, drafting up the rules and regulations, that again would need an attorney to review that. And I saw that Attorney Finney had gone over it back in 2017 and wrote her comments on it. So we're trying to work on that, but first we're trying to fix the Enabling Act for ancestral lands so that we could work on it. But those are the issues that would need legal to look at, and those we're very active in working on. And then, of course, if anything, if we do get enjoined in the Cortec case, then that'll be another one. And that's a big one there. So I'm hoping we don't get enjoined into that one. And then, of course, there's other ones that Nick said that he took care of, like the summons we had involving the Affligui case, and that deals also with the Moylands. And there may be an issue with the Attorney General, being a Moylan there. I believe his father's involved in that, Richard Moylan. So we had a summons on that, and the decision of Deputy AG, former Deputy AG Canto and AAG Tuff was just to submit the documents to them, and other than that, not reply. So I'm wondering how they're going to take that. So those are some of the legal issues that cases that we're going to be involved with. But I can try to draft something up and work it out and maybe meet with attorneys Miller and Finney and see how they, what they think about it. If we could work something out part-time for us, something that we could afford.
Okay. Yes, definitely. In light of the information Finney gave us regarding our needs, and although she was saying that land management, she's suggesting that they would definitely need one full time. So I, as opposed to ancestral lands, but I'll leave that to you and Finney and Sandra to let us to work out how we can still be efficient, right, and prudent in our meetings with part-time legal counsel. We'll leave
Yeah,
that with
because
you.
we have a
Director.
regular meeting coming up on Wednesday of next week. I believe that's February
Are we gonna have?
February 8th. Are we gonna have an attorney there?
Yeah, that's a question. Are we gonna have an attorney?
Yeah, on that one there, we'll probably be discussing Northern Markets on the agenda. Also, WIC is on there. We'll be dealing with their license and an MOU. I believe what happened was we had a license with them for 10 years, and then somewhere along the line, we came up with an MOU that superseded the license. I didn't know that MOUs could, unless both sides agree to cancel the contract, but that's something we're gonna look at next week. And
Okay. Okay.
So-
Very good, Director. Can we get some? Can we get the board members if you have any questions of the other board members?
the vice chair has his hand up.
Oh,
Mr.
Vice Chair.
Just one last thing. So, just listening to Joe. So the speaker has indicated that Department of Land Management would be exempt from possibly paying the Attorney General for attorney representation, correct? Joe?
That's Mr. Borja.
Correct, but I'd have to review the tape of the meeting. It was quite a long meeting, and there were quite a lot of issues, that were brought up in that meeting. I think it was almost 3-hour meeting that we had with the committee, not just with speaker, with the committee. And one of the issues that was brought up was, of course, legal counsel. We did inform her that we were negotiating with the legal counsel, and there were some comments made, but no commitment or anything like that. So I'd invite Director Birch to the replay of the video from that meeting, specifically in that particular issue, as well as Attorney Finney. And we have that scheduled for Friday, so showtime is Friday. It's quite long, and it's not yet confirmed, but once it is, I will notify you.
Okay, Joe, I'll be there for that. Yeah, I'm very interested in that because when this conversation came up in the past, what happened was that's when they exempted the Chamorro Land Trust. So I'm concerned that that might happen, and Ancestral Lands does not have the budget for that. We may have to, we did not, our budget is not approved basically by BBMR. We do send it to them as a courtesy. Our budget goes straight to Senator San Augustine's committee, and he reviews it. So we still have time to adjust our budget to take into the consideration, maybe the increase in legal fees. Because based on our collection of rent that goes into Survey Infrastructure Development Fund, we don't have enough funds in there. We would have to ask them to throw in some money from the general fund to accommodate that. So yeah, that's my big concern is what we can afford, and we could pay a lump sum amount, and if we could come to agreement with the services that are going to be offered, and I could come up with the services that we would need. I pretty much know what they are. It's what we've been using for a while already.
Yep. Can I intercede? Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Vice Chair. Go ahead,
Mr.
Vice
Chair, yeah, because we would really need a legal council, attorneys to be there now because we also have a lot of upcoming hearings. We have one on February 6th, Bill 1237. And that's coming from the speaker's office with regards to
Yeah,
contracts.
there's a
and
couple,
maybe property.
even-
Yeah, couple.
Even
So,
1337.
right, so
Wow.
we're gonna need to get on the ball on this, and I'm hoping that Miss Finney and Miss Miller work with our director and come up with a
Well,
you
one
know,
of
a good
them,
yeah.
the thing with, I believe, I don't know exactly which numbers, if it's 1237 or 1337, but 1237 involves the agencies that are on the committee that are dealing with the development of the medical center, the medical campus up in Manila. We're not part, Ancestral Land is not a part of that committee.
Right.
So that does
Oh.
not involve us. We
Yeah.
provide information to land management, Gita and everybody else who may be involved in that committee, but we're not part of the committee. We just simply provide information to it. So that's as far as our involvement. And in fact, if the senators ask us, the speakers ask us a lot of information, and we sent that to her too. So that's our involvement with that. We're not a member of that committee. The other one involves an issue with negotiating leases with the federal government. Again, we don't negotiate leases with the federal government here. That again is
Yeah.
somewhere else. It's at a higher level than Ancestral Lands. If you're dealing with the executive branch, that would be with the governor's office and not with us. So in both those bills, I've reviewed them. One, we're not part of the committee, and one, which they asked the committee to show up and give their position on it. And the other one is whether or not we agree that we should continue allowing the executive branch to negotiate leases with the federal government for more than 5 years. We're not involved with that either. So now we could look at it and see how we could be involved, or if we're going to be involved with that. But I think they
Yeah.
should target the agencies that deal with that directly.
It indicated sub entities as well. Not only
Okay,
federal government, foreign government, or sub entities. So I'm thinking that's where we fall in. When we deal with licenses and contracts that have to be that are 5 years, in excess of 5 years. That's how I'm
yeah.
reading it, but
The one that I would support is when they deal
yeah.
with locally to extend before we submit our determination need to the legislature, at least extend it to 10 years or more. Currently, they limit us to 5 years.
Mhm.
So, but that one goes beyond that. I think that's something at the governor's level. I'd have to look at it deeper to see how it does affect us.
Yeah,
But
we
yes,
were
those
sent-
are
I was-
issues. Those are
Mr.
issues I agree that
Director?
we got to look at and see how we're involved.
Yeah, because apparently I received an email. I believe all the board members received an email inviting us to this. I don't know if it was an invitation, but it was
Yes.
a notice.
It's an invitation to come and speak. Should you have any interest in the topic,
Okay.
but I'll look into those bills further to see if it requires us to make any comment on it. Because when it affects our agency directly, I do review them, and I do look at what the commissioners have stated, and I would write a position on it and submit it to the speaker's office. But those ones, I don't think that we're involved as far as the Manila medical campus, the development of it. And the other one
Mr.
with the
Director-
leases, I'll look at that one
Yeah.
more closely.
Yeah. Mr. Director, they normally would send you a letter of invite personally. So did you receive one?
Yeah, I got one the other day.
Okay, so then.
Can I just,
there.
I'm sorry, just wanted to remind you guys to kind of because it's a special meeting and you publish,
Yeah, we're getting off
you know,
track. Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Chair, we got off track there. Sorry. He's trying to say that we would need legal
need you.
counsel on that.
Yeah, we're gonna need you.
So as of right now, my understanding is that Attorney Miller is assigned to handle anything that is gonna be in court for you guys. And whatever is
Yeah.
not gonna be in court, that would be me that you would be contacting.
Okay.
Okay.
We could work that way because then that one would not be court. That would be legislative or the legislature. But I'll look at it further, Vice Chair, and see.
Yeah.
But it's basically it's up to the commissioners independently if you're going to go down there. But if you feel that it involves us, then of course, let me know and I'll get a hold of Attorney Finney and we could look at the bill more closely. My general look at it, it did not involve us directly. But I guess moving forward, what we're going to do here, I see that maybe I could come up with something and I'll sit down with Mr. Borja and Attorney Finney and review the video that he was talking about where they had that meeting to discuss what's going to happen. I'm not sure what the legislature is going to do here. What I am concerned is that we keep an attorney with us during our meetings, especially when we're drafting contracts to review them. And possibly even legislation, because we are going to be drafting legislation soon. Should the legislature work on a bill now that it's got a new number on it. I think I printed a copy out, 23-37. And this is to amend our enabling act pretty much so that we can work on the land bank rules and regulations and also to work on that. And I believe that Attorney Finney will be with you. That'll be working with that. So commissioners, do you have any more questions for our attorneys while we have them here?
Not at this time.
Yeah, I'd like to get, okay. Commissioner Wesley?
Hi, I think you all pretty much covered topics of concern. I guess I'll just voice that I think at minimum that we would want legal counsel to be present at our meetings. At minimum. Can you refresh my memory, Director Birch, right now as to what we are paying for legal counsel in our, what we budgeted?
Okay, we budget around 47,000 or so.
46.
I see. Okay,
Kathy would have the exact number, but it's in the mid to upper 40,000s.
okay, thank you. I can always get together with her on that later. So, I mean, so that is the budget that we've been working with. So I would hope that we could, you know, that would be somewhere, it would remain somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
That's
Continue.
what I was going to propose, that we
Yeah.
continue at that, since it worked out pretty well with Attorney Tough. Split him 3 ways, right? That we could continue to pay that and still receive the same services. We could draft that up into an MOU if necessary, and present that to the Attorney General, and hopefully he would approve of it. That way we'll feel comfortable moving forward with our meetings. That way we will be taken care of legally in the way of providing us with legal advice. And if necessary, we wind up in court, we'll have an attorney assigned to us, like what is happening now with Attorney Miller, where she's assigned to handle litigation for us. And if we can continue that moving forward, that'll be great. It's just that the way it's mentioned or written in the MOU, what happened was the 3 agencies would pay their share, which was basically 1/3 of the Assistant Attorney General's salary and any other costs associated with that. And that's where we came up with the 40-some plus $1,000 from each agency, split 3 ways. So if we could keep it at that, then, you know, we've been paying that amount for our legal services so that we could get some dedicated, not 100%, but some dedicated legal advice, whenever we need it. And which is not often. We don't need a full-time attorney coming in and going over every document we write, but somebody to review it when necessary. And of course, to give us legal advice as we make decisions. So I think I can come up with an MOUs, something, similar to that, and we could go over it. If that would be something the commissioners would like. And I'll sit down with both attorneys.
I
and also-
think that Director, the commission, I can see we're very comfortable with you handling it. I know the interest of the trust and the commission is your highest priority, and you look forward to the best deal that you can get for us and the most frugal. So I think we're very comfortable. Would you just let us know, as our vice chair said? Go ahead and deal with Director Joe and our legal counsel, and just let us know what's the best alternative you can come up with, and I'm sure we're gonna go with it.
Yeah, as long
Actually,
as
to
we.
deal with the AG's office, not with land management.
Well, I mean,
Like,
I think the discussions of how to go about. I overheard the director.
Yeah.
Director Birch mentioning you guys sitting down or something. I don't know. That's
Well,
why I
we're-
mentioned
Because we
Tomorrow
have to sit-
advice.
the way the MOU currently sits is that if one agency decides to opt out, they give 60 days notice. If all three directors sit down and sign off and they all opt out at once, the MOU is ended, or the AG's office can end it on their own. That's the way it
Mm.
sits right now. So it's something I want to make sure that we all agree on, that moving forward, that we can still have legal advice, but maybe looks like we're going to have to end this MOU. Definitely, we're going to have to end it and come up with something that will work, where we continue with the same services at the same price. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm going to recommend.
Okay,
That has
Director.
worked for us.
The whole board is going that direction. If you need any to discuss anything with the board, just let us know. But right now you handle it, and it's in your capable hands. We're comfortable.
Okay,
This is
so
Vice Chair's mentioned, and
so we're going to be moving forward,
Okay.
and we'll be compensating the because we cut the checks or cut authorized payment every month. We'll continue as such, knowing that
Okay.
we are going to move forward, and this is something that's going to work. And
are we going to have legal counsel on our next meeting?
Attorney Finney, will you be there? 2:30
February 8th.
February 8th via Zoom. I'll send you the Zoom invite.
For now, that's my understanding, but obviously we still have some things to discuss. I mean, I'm
Definitely.
just so you know, I'm here in land management's office space right now, so
Yes. But
Oh, so
you
Joe's
know,
already got you
well-
halfway.
We got room
got
in our
possession.
office, right,
Well-
Mr. Birch? We have room in our office.
We could try to fit some room
Yeah.
somewhere. Also,
I
Mr. Boy's
don't-
gonna
I
lock
don't
me
want
out of
another
land
office.
management.
Okay,
Okay.
so is that a yes or a no? That we're gonna have legal counsel
It'll be
this
via
next
Zoom,
meeting?
so you could still stay physically in the office.
Yeah,
Mr.
you
Boyer
go.
won't know what you're doing.
well, as I said, it's my understanding as of right now that that's the expectation, but again, it
Okay.
sounds like there's still some things to talk about, but that's my expectation. So we will
But-
see what happens.
Yeah, and in good faith, we'll continue signing off on the monthly payments. We'll do that in good faith. Kathy's on here hearing me say that. Kathy shaking her head. No, Kathy, we will. We need legal
Okay.
advice.
Okay.
And we'll do that knowing
Yeah,
that
so-
at least you'll keep us out of trouble. So we don't get sued. None of us wind up in jail for doing something wrong.
Okay,
and
but
all the nice stuff that go
but
with
the way
it.
okay. Okay, the way I'm taking it now though, okay, and I'm just, this is not a rant or anything. Okay, I'm just trying to confirm everything. Right now, we're not sure. It's possible we're gonna have legal counsel, but it's not confirmed because there's still talk that needs to be, discussion. So it's it's an iffy thing that we're gonna have legal counsel for our meeting on the 8th, correct?
Yeah, well, the letter that we all received, I sent you a copy of the letter from Deputy Attorney General Guthrie that assigned both attorneys to us and said that these are the duties that they'll be handling. And I take that as a good faith gesture on their part that we'll do the same in return. We'll continue with working while we're working through getting another MOU. And with the understanding that we would eventually sit down and cancel the current MOU and come up with a new one to replace it. And that's why Mr. Borja is on here, because when he decides to end it, if he wants to end it right away, all three directors, which is Alice Tyrone, who's now the administrative director of CLTC, Mr. Borja, and myself, if we decide that there's a time to end it, we would let you know. But that's where the commission, since the commission is a governing commission, you guys would have to vote on it to end that MOU.
Okay,
Unless right now you vote and give me the authority to do it, then we could just wait and work this thing through. But
Yeah.
it should remain with the commissioners.
okay. So now I'm gonna take it as a yes, we are gonna have legal counsel.
We will be paying, that's what I'm saying. We will be paying for legal
Yeah.
counsel based on the current
Okay, so we will
requirements
have
or
legal
mandates of the
counsel
MOU.
on our next,
Yeah, if we're paying, then we should have legal counsel.
I agree.
okay, okay, so I'm gonna expect legal counsel on that day. We should.
Okay.
Thanks, Vinny. Okay,
And
so,
I'll sit down with them because all of this with ending the MOU has to be worked out together between the three agencies and the AG's office.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, I
Like this-
think, if there's no further questions,
Mr. Chair,
Chair.
you're freezing.
Mr. Chair. I move to adjourn.
I think our chairman is frozen for a bit.
I'm frozen.
Okay, there you go.
Everybody's frozen. Mine's buffering. There you go.
Mr. Chair, there's a motion by the vice chair to adjourn.
Okay, it's now, what time is it right now?
3:46.
3:46.
It's about 3:45, I would say,
Okay.
3:46.
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned.